For this short video, we're going to talk about very basic levels of going through and exploring your data for use in the Precision Agriculture Toolkit for ENVI. The reason that we're going to talk about this is it's important to understand your data so that you can know what steps you need to do in order to get the best crop counting results. The basic gist of crop counting is that the algorithm looks for bright spots in an image, kind of shaped like blobs or Gaussian distribution. So our goal is going to be to take this imagery and convert that into a black-white image where the crop canopies we're looking for are bright and everything else is dark. The data that you see here is Pleiad data from Airbus, and it's over an almond orchard in California. The first thing that I typically do when I get a new data set that I want to run through the crop counter is I like to run all the spectral indices that I have available and take a look at a band animation of those. So that's what I'm going to do. In my toolbox, I'm going to search spectral. And I'm going to open up the spectral indices tools, which is the first one that appears. I have 26 spectral indices available that I can run on my scene. I'm going to select them all because I never know what I might find. Now that I've ran all of my spectral indices, let's go ahead and take a look at a band animation of our data so we can see what bands accentuate the canopies. Now, even though the crop counter is looking for data that's bright, we have a pre-processing tool that we can use to invert a raster. So we either want to have all of the canopies bright or all of the canopies dark, and both of those can be used for the crop counter depending on the pre-processing step that you go through. So now that we have the band animation tool open, I'm going to go ahead and add an annotation for what band we're actually looking at. This is very useful because now I can visually see what I'm looking at and I don't have to remember which band number, I can just remember the spectral index. We'll let this go through another time. Since I've already looked through this data before, I know that what we're going to want to use is either the sum green index or the burn area index. So if I pause the animation and go to the burn area index, this is the first layer that's displayed after we run our spectral indices. We'll see all of our canopies are bright. There's not much in between the trees that's accentuated here, which is exactly what we want. If I go to the sum green index, this image will also work well because all of our canopies are dark. This means that we can just invert this band and pass that into the crop counter, which will then make all of the canopies bright. Now that we know what we're looking for, let's go ahead and run the sum green index through our pre-processing step so that we can see the result. We're just going to run the sum green index through because we already know that the burn area index is probably good enough as is. In ENVI's toolbox, I'm going to open up the Precision Ag Toolkit folder and select Pre-Processed Data for Crop Counting. For my input raster, I'm going to choose my spectral indices image, but I'm going to do a spectral subset just of the sum green index, and I'm going to hit OK. Next, I have a couple different options for how I can process this. I'm going to select Invert Data and Display Result, so our image is displayed after this task is done running. And I'm not going to normalize the data. Sometimes it can be a useful step, but you don't always have to run it. Here, I'm just going to hit OK, and we'll see our inverted sum green index appear on the screen. We see all of our canopies are bright. In the top left of the image, there's some pixels that are bright between the trees, but since these aren't going to be the shape that we're looking for, the crop counter is going to do a great job here. Let's just go ahead and flip back and forth so you can see the difference. Here's our original image. Here's the inverted image. And that's how you can explore your data.